The spotlight on Indians in Canada. Is the Canadian dream worth it? Should you be going to Canada to pursue higher studies? Will you get a job once you graduate? What happens if you don't get a house to live? The Canadian dream has come crashing down. If you're a student, if you aspire to study abroad, chances are Canada would be high on your list as a destination. The number of students from India applying to study in Canada has dropped dramatically. If you open social media, you will be inundated with videos of students sharing their grievances. They are criticizing the stifling cost of living. They are calling out the lack of opportunities promised. They say they are not happy with the career prospects being offered, especially after doling out nearly 19 lakh rupees a year on Canadian education. Here are some statistics. The number of applications for new study permits from India dropped, a decline of nearly 40%. Indian students in Canada are worried about the lack of job opportunities. This fear is not without reason. Indian students form a major chunk of international students arriving in Canada every year. This made India the top source country for new international students entering the country last year. In fact, India had the most student permit holders in 2022 in Canada. But this year, it's a different story. The fall of applications is rooted in what's happening in Canada. A Canadian news outlet provided some insight. It says that youngsters are now calling out the country's poor economic prospects for aspiring international students. For one, the housing crisis. A combination of record high interest rates and low construction means that new housing units are near impossible to own for immigrants. Government data says there's a shortfall of housing units across Canada. So what happens to house rents? They are through the roof. Reports say international students have had to live in cramped basement setups, the same students who came to Canada for better opportunities. Students have shared their experiences online. Many say they are lugging bags, going door to door, trying to find safe accommodation. Those who are lucky enough to find a space end up sharing it with other students in a basement of some house. And reports say they pay as much as $650 for rent. And then there's, of course, tuition fee. It's no secret that foreign students pay at least 3 times the tuition fee when compared to Canadian students. What happens once students graduate? Are they all offered lucrative pay packages? Far from it. Some blame Canada's liberal visa policies for the lack of jobs. They say the ease of entry into Canada means that a deluge of people come in every year and there are not enough opportunities to sustain them or help them thrive. The spotlight on Indians in Canada. Is the Canadian dream worth it? Should you be going to Canada to pursue higher studies? Will you get a job once you graduate? What happens if you don't get a house to live?